A different future starts with you. That's why GoDaddy...
Okay. Sorry about that. Had a little bit of a late start here. So if you'll excuse me if I'm a little mixed up. I was late getting all my notes ready for the show before we went live, so they're a little unorganized here. And then before I was kind of scrambling to get ready, and then before I knew it, it was 5 o'clock. I'm like, oh shit, I gotta start the stream already. And, yeah. Hopefully we're working now. Cool. Alright, so I've been a little out of sorts this week. I don't know why. I was feeling really down a couple days ago, so I just took a few days to kind of unwind and relax, do some IRL stuff. And you guys don't care about that. Whatever. There we go. All right. You're here for the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, episode 4. Getting really interesting now. You guys know the drill by now, though. We're going to go through the episode. I'm going to talk about everything that happened. I'll spoil everything. I'm going to give my thoughts on it, and then we'll do comments and super chats at the end. So, stream health, excellent. Great. All right. Again, very unorganized here. I'm sorry. Problem is my body clock is so messed up. I was up late watching the episode and taking notes, and then I slept late. And then I didn't have much time to get ready for this. It's one of the downsides of being a YouTuber is that you work all these really weird hours. So God help you try to get on a regular schedule. And I've always been kind of a night person anyway, so my first instinct is always to stay up late. But if I'm making videos or writing scripts or whatever, I'm staying up like really late, like get way into the next morning, and then it's like, God help you try to sleep normal hours, whatever. Anywho, Falcon Winter Soldier, episode 4. We begin in Wakanda 6 years ago. This is where Bucky finally gets deprogrammed of his of all the stuff Hydra did to him. Io is there. She's saying the Winter Soldier trigger words. Bucky is scared they're gonna work. But she's like, no, I won't let you hurt anybody. He keeps flashing back to all the horrible things he did as the Winter Soldier. He's really conflicted about the whole thing, but they don't work. He gets through it, so he's finally free of the programming Hydra put in his head. It's a simple scene, not much to it, but it's good. It really works. Sebastian Stan's great here. We're on his face the whole time. You can see all the pain there and his relief when he finally realizes it's over. Good stuff. Good stuff. Then we're in the present, where Io's confronting him. And it's like, well, how could you free Zemo after everything he did, blah, blah, blah. Bucky says Zemo's a means to an end because they got to get the super soldier thing resolved. Io gives him 8 hours. And then the Wakandans are coming for Zemo. So, tick-tock. Seems like kind of an arbitrary number. Why 8 hours? I don't know. But, okay. Excuse me. Back in Zemo's house, Bucky tells them the Wakandans want Zemo. Then he sees on his phone that Carly has bombed a GRC supply depot. There's like 11 people dead, and she's promising more if her demands are not met. Zemo's committed to this mission, but Sam wants to find a way to finish this that doesn't involve killing Carly, which is looking more and more unlikely as Carly becomes more and more radicalized here. Zemo thinks Sam is seeing something in her that isn't there. He likens super soldiers to supremacists, and any super soldier is inherently on that path, Steve Rogers being the exception. And this does not end until Sam kills Carly or she kills him. Sam thinks that since Donya Madani was some kind of pillar of her community, there might be a ceremony or a public funeral. They should check that out. Also, Zemo offers Sam some candy, which I thought was kind of funny. Meanwhile, the Flag Smashers listen to the news. The others don't look happy about what Carly did, but they're not making a stink about it. The news says the GRC are drafting legislation that restores traditional border regulations. I'm not sure what the implications of that are exactly, but it could be a thing later. Sam, Bucky, and Zemo are in town. Sam asks someone about Donya, but she's evasive, and Sam finds the Flag Smasher insignia on her sewing kit, so these people are all sympathizers. Everyone around is trying to get away from Sam. He finally finds someone who's willing to talk to him, but the guy doesn't trust him. Sam says he has a good track record with helping people, but the guy believes that nothing happens when people say they want to help out. The GRC said they'd help out, said they'd send teachers and supplies, and that was 6 months ago and nothing's happened. So, downstairs, Zemo was offering the local kids some candy. Yeah, strange man offering kids candy on the street, all perfectly harmless. He says his friend Donya passed away, and a girl tells him where the funeral's going to be. He also tells the kids that Bucky and Sam are bad men not to be trusted, but nothing really comes of that. So it might have been a red herring. So back in Zemo's house, Sam is starting to feel sympathy for these people. He understands how things were better for them during the blip, and they kind of got screwed over afterward, although we haven't really seen how things are that bad for them. I mean, they could be a lot worse, seems to me. But, I mean, these people seem like they're doing okay, but anyway, to them, Carly is the only one who's trying to help them out. Zemo tells them about the funeral, but he won't tell them where it is in order to keep his leverage in case the Dormilaje show up. Probably a smart move. Sam calls Sharon. She may have access to some satellites that can help out, but the power broker went apeshit about Nagel, and Madripoor's about to get nasty, or nastier, so they need to see this through and be quick about it. I'm curious how Sharon Carter can access satellites when she's technically hiding from the U.S. government. How does that work? Can we get an explanation about this, please? Not this week, unfortunately. So, we cut to a graveyard. Carly and another one of the Flag Smashers have the serum hidden under a gravestone. Considering what happens later, I'm not really sure why they didn't just leave it there. I guess they wanted to use the funeral as a recruitment drive or something, but that seems like an odd place for it. There's a really interesting conversation here. Carly wonders if they're doing the right thing making more super soldiers. The guy with her says that his granddad fought in World War II and he used to say, if you're doing something that scares you, it's probably the right thing to do. And he says, as a kid, he was even a Captain America fan and didn't think there would ever be another Cap until he met Carly. That's the kind of figure she's become. He says the world is more complicated now, and people need a hero who looks like them and understands that today's heroes don't have the luxury of keeping their hands clean. What we're doing will outlive the legacy of that shield. That shield is a monument to a bygone era, a reminder of all the people history just left out. If anything, it should be destroyed. And it feels like the episode is trying to make that case for them by the end of this thing, but they really want you to sympathize and understand Carly's point of view. The writers don't want you to think of her as a villain, exactly, even though she's doing some bad things. So they write about the world being complicated. And this, to me, fits right in with the themes of the Captain America movies. There's a subtle message in there, in those movies, about the world becoming more complex and more gray. Like, First Avenger was very black and white. Good and evil, America versus the Nazis and Hydra. Winter Soldier was a lot more complicated. There was a guy doing bad things, but he wasn't a bad guy, just being manipulated, and the real bad guys were actually posing as the good guys. In Civil War, Cap believed he was doing the right thing, but the right thing technically made him the bad guy, at least in the eyes of some people. So if you're trying to tell a story that follows that up, the ideas they're exploring here feel really appropriate, I think. So John Walker and Lamar Hoskins just walk up to Bucky and Sam and Zemo on the street. Zemo knows where Carly is, so they can't just arrest him right now, but John and Lamar aren't going anywhere, so they're kind of stuck working together again. John wants to move in fast. Excuse me. But Sam wants to talk to Carly first and keep things from escalating, while John thinks they're past reasoning with Carly after she blew up a building. Both of them kind of have a point, but John's becoming more unstable by the minute, so I'm more on Sam's side here. John thinks it's a terrible idea trying to talk to her, but Lamar thinks it might be worth a try, and John does listen to Lamar at least. So Zemo says his associate is right up ahead. It's the girl from before who liked candy. He gives her some money for his family, and she takes them to the funeral. And I thought she was going to lead them into a trap or something, but weirdly, she doesn't. Zemo is good to his word. He takes them to the funeral with no funny business. So Sam goes in alone. John handcuffs Zemo to something heavy, and he gives Sam 10 minutes before he goes in and does things his way. There's a crowd of people there. Carly's giving Donya's eulogy. She was alone until Donya found her, clothed her, loved her like she did for a lot of people in this room. Then she sees Sam, and her eulogy subtly turns into a speech about how they all have to come together because they're one world and one people. And she doesn't mention that the Flag Smashers are looking for recruits, but the message is pretty clear. So all the people clear out. Sam talks to Carly, says there doesn't have to be a war here. She says they started a war when they kicked us out into the street. Sam says he understands her frustration and her helplessness, and he used to counsel veterans, so he's actually really good at this. And stop it, autocorrect. I'm sorry. This is a big pet peeve of mine. So meanwhile, outside, John is just looking at the shield, and he's just getting all kinds of stressed out at this point. It hasn't been 10 minutes, but he's had enough, and he wants to move in now. Bucky stops him, but John's like, "So this is easy. This is so easy for you, isn't it? All that serum running through your veins. Your partner needs backup in there. You really want his blood on your hands?" So John's resentment of super soldiers is growing very quickly. It's not hatred of them like Zemo, but it's like frustration mixed with jealousy and a bunch of other things. So back to Sam and Carly. Sam says a guy who knows more about super soldiers than anyone else calls her a supremacist. Carly denies this. Says the people she's fighting are trying to take Sam's home, so why is he here instead of stopping them? This hits home for Sam. My sister's waiting for that exact same answer, he says. But I'm not your enemy. I agree with your fight, I just can't get with the way you're fighting it. I guess it's good that they were able to tie this back into the stuff with the sister. It doesn't make up for the awkward way they introduced that plot, but it makes it slightly more relevant, I guess. Anyway, John walks in. He tries to arrest Carly and just ends up blowing the whole thing right when Sam was getting through to her. Because John Walker just is just not good at this. Carly blows right through them. She runs for it. Bucky pursues her, but he loses her. Meanwhile, Zemo has escaped the handcuffs. He finds Carly in the basement, I think, and shoots her a couple times. She falls over a table where the super soldier serum was just sitting there, completely unguarded. It seems like a really big miscalculation on the Flag Smashers' part right there. So Zemo knows what this stuff is, and he destroys the vials. He doesn't even take one for himself, which I found really interesting. So Carly escapes while he's doing this. John takes Zemo down with the shield. He finds one vial that Zemo missed and quietly pockets it. And I really like what they do here, because suddenly Zemo, of all people, looks more principled than John Walker, the guy who's trying to be Captain America. And Zemo is a bad guy, but it's like Bucky said, he does have a code, and he sticks to it, whereas John Walker seems more and more willing to compromise himself, which in a way is worse, because he's looking more like wildly unpredictable, whereas you kind of know how Zemo is going to react to things. John Walker is more of a loose cannon. So Carly is okay. She heals pretty fast. That's the super soldier in her. The Flag Smashers get a call from the power broker. He wants the serum or he will end them, but the serum's gone now, so the walls are closing in on them now. Carly says she'll deal with the power broker when the time comes. In the meantime, she knows how they deal with Sam without getting involved in a direct fight. They separate them and then kill Captain America. I think that's something Sam might have an issue with. That would probably lead to a direct fight, but this is our plan. So Sam messages Sharon to keep her eye on the sky on John Walker. Zemo says he can't hold out hope for Carly. Whatever he saw in her, she's gone, and they can't allow her and her acolytes to become another faction of gods among men. Super soldiers just can't be allowed to exist. Sam's like, if that's how you feel, what about Bucky? Because you didn't have a problem with using Bucky. And blood isn't always the solution, which is an odd perspective given what Sam does for a living, but okay. So Bucky comes in. They're back in Zemo's house right now. He says there's something not right with John Walker. Yeah, no shit, Bucky. He knows crazy when he sees it, and he doesn't know how right he's going to be about that in just a couple minutes. So John Walker storms in. He's ordering them to turn Zemo over. Sam points out that Zemo's proven himself useful today while Sam was getting through to Carly until John ruined everything. But John's had enough, and he's ready to throw down here. But then Io's spear flies through the air, the Dormelage walk in. They want Zemo right fucking now. And John, like a total douchebag, tries to be the big swinging dick in the room here. He says they have no jurisdiction. I don't know if he's right about that or not, but he really doesn't respect them at all. He's very condescending. So the Dormelage kick his ass, they kick Lamar's ass. Bucky and Sam just stand there letting them. they're just off to the side watching this, feeling really satisfied about the whole thing. It's kind of funny, actually. So eventually they have to step in to keep John and Lamar from getting killed, and Zemo slips away in the confusion. Apparently he had a secret getaway tunnel in the bathroom. And this is a fun fight if you can accept. It's a fun fight if you can accept that the Dormelage are kind of ridiculously OP for women with spears. It's like they're not even powered, but I feel like they're doing too well for just normal people. And honestly, that's a problem I had with the Black Panther movie too. Okoye in particular, it's like, you don't have powers. I know you're good, but no one's that good. Like, you shouldn't be able to do some of the things you do. It's just not humanly possible. But that's the Dormelage. So Bucky's heart really isn't in this fight. He doesn't want to fight them, so he's not really trying. That gives Io an opening, and she jabs his cyborg arm in a few places, and it just falls off. Which he didn't even know she could do that. Then Zemo's gone, so the Dormelage just kind of leave, and we don't see them again. And if that's the last we see of them in the show, that's kind of lame. I assume the Wakandans are going to do more in the story than this. If that's all, then they were just a plot device, and I don't like that. There ought to be more, so I expect they'll be back. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt for now on that one. Yeah, so they're gone, but they'll, I think they'll be back. Not that John Walker's happy about that. He's really despondent over this. They just got their asses handed to them, and these people weren't even super soldiers. So, the dude is just unraveling right now. Later, he asks Lamar if Lamar would take the serum if he had a chance, and Lamar totally would. Power just makes a person more themselves, right? And John wonders what that would mean for him. Lamar tells him, "You have 3 medals of honor, dude. You consistently make the right decisions in the heat of battle." Not sure what Lamar's basing that on. Stuff John did before the events of the show, I hope. Then John says, "We both know the things we had to do in Afghanistan to be awarded those medals felt a long way from being right. Being Cap is the first chance I've had to do something that actually feels right." And then imagine how many lives we could have saved that day if we had the serum, says Lamar. And I like this. We're finally getting into John Walker's head. For one thing, he's clearly got a lot of PTSD that he's not dealing with. And also, he wants to be a good guy and do the right thing, but his experiences in the military have kind of clouded his perception of what the right thing is. Interesting. More on that in a minute. So Carly calls Sam's sister. She's trying to decide if she needs to kill her brother or not. You know, I thought he and I had some things in common, but he's working for the new Captain America. I didn't choose that guy. Well, who would you have chosen instead? My world doesn't matter to America, so why should I care about its mascot? Yeah, my brother is not working for that man. So Carly wants to meet with Sam alone. She's going to pass along the coordinates. She's doing it this way because she needs to know if she can trust Sam. Otherwise, instead of meeting Sam, she can meet Sarah and her kids on that dock that she's standing on right now. So Sam and Bucky meet with Carly. She would never hurt Sarah. She just wanted to understand Sam better. And she doesn't want to hurt Sam either. He's just a tool in the regimes that she wants to destroy. He's not hiding behind a shield, and if she killed him, it would be meaningless. Killing an Avenger would be meaningless? Oh, come on. Give the guy more credit than that. Anyway, she wants to ask him to join her or do the world a favor and let her go. So, Sharon calls Sam, and she tells him that John Walker's moving in. Bucky tries to jump off the balcony, but Carly cuts him off. Sam takes flight, and a big fight scene ensues. And this is all really good stuff. Really good climax here. There are a couple confusing bits where I wasn't quite sure where everybody was, like geographically. That might have been a fault of the editing, because things got a little weird in a few places there, but it's not really a big deal. John and Lamar move up the stairwell. John's distracted by something. He gets cut off from Lamar. Then he moves ahead, finds Lamar's gun on the floor. He enters a room, and the Flag Smasher jumps him. So they fight. Sam crashes through the roof window. John kicks the Flag Smasher out the door. They start fighting over a lead pipe or something. John bends it with his bare hands. So John took the serum. He's a super soldier now, but they don't really have time to discuss that. The Flag Smasher runs. Him and Sam follow. Bucky gets jumped by another Flag Smasher. He kicks the guy through a brick wall. Sam and John fight the others. Bucky joins them. Really cool fight scene here. Lamar has managed to free himself. Meanwhile, one Flag Smasher holds John from behind. Carly charges at him. Lamar cuts her off, but she punches him into a stone column, and his body just snaps like a twig. He's dead. And damn, that's too bad. Lamar seemed like a decent guy. Maybe not the best judge of character, but a decent guy. That's a shame. So the Flag Smashers run. John has really reached his breaking point now, so he jumps through a window, falls several stories, sticks the landing, chases one of them down, beats him to death with the shield, while bystanders watch, utterly horrified. Everyone's got their phones out recording this, and here's the new Captain America with the shield covered in blood. Hell of a cliffhanger right there. Really good episode. Really good. There's a couple bits that are a little questionable. But overall, it feels like they've worked the kinks out now. There's a pretty big contrast between episodes 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. They've ditched all the awkward stuff. They've ditched the gay subtext, thankfully. There's one or two little woke things still in there, but they're not annoying. They're handled in a more mature way now. Like, there's an issue here, but we're going to try to address it like adults. Not like, idiots on Tumblr. It almost feels like the first 2 episodes were produced by somebody else. And I mean that in a good way. And I really like how morally complex the whole thing is becoming. Like, Zemo, the supervillain, feels like a guy you can actually rely on to come through for you up to a point as long as your goals align with his. Carly continues to feel sympathetic while doing some pretty bad things. Even killing Lamar isn't portrayed like she did it maliciously. Like, that seems like something that could have been easily avoided, and it's portrayed like something that happened because John Walker has no impulse control and just moved in when they were addressing this, in a peaceful way. Meanwhile, John Walker is turning into an unhinged crazy person. He got medals of honor for doing really fucked up shit. Apparently rewarded for doing something that didn't feel right to him. Now he's struggling with what's right and what isn't. And being a Captain America felt right to him, but then he sucked at it. And he snapped under the pressure, so he became a super soldier, and then the first thing that happens is his friend gets killed. So that's probably going to drive him even further over the edge. And then we have to ask the question of, if the super soldier serum makes you more of what you really are, then who is John Walker deep down if this is the first thing he does as a super soldier, is beat someone to death? So I really like the character work here. We had some great fight scenes. All the legacy stuff is really interesting. So it feels like the show is still going in the right direction. It doesn't really forgive, the questionable aspects of the first 2 episodes, but 3 and 4 have been really good. So if we can continue in this direction, I think I'll be happy with the show when it finishes. Excuse me. All right, let's see what you guys thought about this. Hope you're feeling okay. Had a good day. I enjoyed the new episode of Falcon Winter Soldier. Loved the episode of Invincible. It was outstanding as always. Quite emotional as well. Oh yeah, Invincible is just kicking ass. New episode was great. I continue to be amazed at the quality of the voice acting on that show too. like Amazon Prime do this really cool thing. And I said this on Twitter. There's this awesome feature where whenever an actor appears in a scene, they've got all their information, like a mini IMDb on the side there. So I'm always kind of clicking on that when I watch Invincible, because there's always all these name actors that show up in guest roles, even minor roles. It's an actor you've probably heard of, and it's like, holy shit, that's Mahershala Ali, that's Jeffrey Donovan, that's Nicole Byer. It's like, holy shit, it's this person or that person. It's like this every episode. I have never seen a voice cast like this. It's amazing. Excuse me. Your voice is not in sync with the video. Yeah, I might have too many windows open here. Also, my computer is not terribly new, because it's kind of old at this point. Not much I can do about that right now. Sorry. Let's see. Am I the only one who thought the Wakandan women were really cringe? kind of understand that. I don't completely disagree. Like the Dormelage or something, I've always kind of wondered about, because I mean, like I said, they've always seemed really OP, and I'm not sure if that's canon accurate or if it's something that the producers like push because of an agenda or something. Because realistically, they shouldn't be as good as they are. They're women with spears. Now, I don't know if the spears are enhanced with Wakandan tech or what. They don't seem to be. But why are they this good? It seems a little kind of unrealistic. Yeah, I know we're talking about a universe with like superheroes and superpowered people or whatever, but again, they're women with spears. Highly trained, yes, but still, it seems weird that they're as good as they are. It seems very weird. And I agree with you on that. Oh, 3 dead, 11 injured. My bad. Like I said, I was my notes were kind of unorganized because I got off to a late start here. Let's see. Remember in the first episode when John Walker literally got flies off a truck by one weak punch from one of the female criminals when he took 1 seconds earlier, no problem, and then just stayed down, threw off his strap, and pouted like a child, letting them get away. Well, they were on a truck. It's not like he could catch them on foot. Also, these are super soldiers we're talking about, so... and it's possible they were pulling their punches and then hit him with a stronger one just to get him off the truck. Now, what I wondered about is how the hell did he just walk away from a crash like that? I mean, went through the windshield of a car, got thrown off a truck. Realistically, he should not have gotten up and walked away from that one. The episode's ending was nuts. Seeing Cap's shield stained in blood just ain't right. Yeah. So I like what they're doing. Like, even with Zemo and with an extremist like Carly, suddenly John Walker seems like the worst of them. He feels like the real bad guy here, even though he's technically trying to be a good guy. So they're right. It is a lot more complicated than you'd think. I think the new Cap is a really interesting character. Looking forward to see how he's going to deal with the consequences of a friggin' public execution. My guess is he may kind of weasel out of it. He could kind of make the argument that the guy just killed my partner. That's kind of a weak defense since the guy was helpless. Although he's a super soldier, so he could say, "Oh, maybe it was necessary." I don't know. I think he may end up getting out of that, but he's not going to look good doing it. Did he actually take the formula? I didn't see him take it, but it felt heavily implied. No, he took it. Now, he did things that a normal human should not be able to do. Now, he definitely took it. Sebastian Stan gives the strongest performance in the series. Agreed. First, that opening scene was really good. Is this better than the Arrowverse shows? Most of the current Arrowverse shows, yeah, I'd say that. I mean, it's a low bar. I mean, most of the current Arrowverse shows are crap. No, Superman and Lois has been good so far. I think so far the only one I think is really worth and appropriate for the role as Captain America is Bucky. You know, that's something I wish they would kind of explore more. Because it's kind of a tricky situation because the movies did focus a lot more on Bucky and his relationship with Cap. So emotionally, Bucky feels like the right successor to the Shield. So, like in an emotional way, you kind of want Bucky to have it, but to think about his character, and Bucky is not in a great place mentally. So, I mean, we've seen with John Walker how a guy who's not really mentally fit can just unravel under the pressure. So you kind of want Bucky to have it, but if you think about it logically, he may not be the best person because he's still got a lot of issues he needs to work out. Whereas with Sam, not really focused on as much in the movies, but I think morally he's more. He feels like the guy who should have it. Because he's the one who's trying to do things right, trying not to kill people if he can help it. And he's less complicated and less conflicted than Bucky is. So he's kind of the safer choice, even if emotionally there isn't as much there as with Bucky. And I kind of wish they'd talk about that a little bit more. And maybe what they'll end up with is Sam and Bucky sharing the shield. I'd be okay with that. Have them both kind of be Captain America. That'd be kind of cool. Because they've both filled in as Captain America in the comics. Okay. Let's see. John Walker did nothing wrong. That's debatable, I think. Because the guy was not... he could have just arrested the guy. Because he wasn't resisting at that point. He was helpless. And John just killed him. So maybe in a legal sense, John may get off the hook here because the guy did just murder Lamar, or the Flag Smashers did anyway. So John may get off the hook for that. But morally, it's like, it's like John Walker is going off the deep end here. He killed a guy that he didn't have to kill. It kind of tells you something ugly about John Walker. Like, his morals are a lot more flexible than they might appear. Which for a super soldier is not a good thing. What if John Walker is the power broker? I assume that's what you meant here. I really don't think so. I don't think John Walker is that smart. He's not really a manipulator. He's just a kind of an unhinged dude. He doesn't seem to me like that much of a deep thinker. So, oh, we got a super chat here. 1 second. And there it is. Life of Nate, thank you for the $9.99. There was a comic where the Punisher even took up the mantle of Captain America because Steve was temporarily gone. It's a badass storyline, short but cool. Yeah, I heard it. Yeah, I know about that. I didn't read it, but I think it was a pretty brief one. Yeah, I remember there was, I think it was in Civil War, where Punisher was working on the side of the people who didn't register, and he killed a couple supervillains, I think, and then Cap, beat the crap out of him, and Punisher just would not fight back because he respected Cap so much. Yeah, I guess he kind of took up the shield for a little bit, like a short time, but yeah, that would have been that would not have been a long-term thing. Punisher trying to be a good guy, that doesn't really work. All right, where was I? Should be Bucky, totally. Yeah, well, should it? Like I said, emotionally, you kind of want Bucky to get the shield, but we've seen how somebody who is not mentally fit deals with the pressure of being Captain America. And in Bucky, we like Bucky, but is he really mentally fit enough to be the bearer of the Captain America's shield? Is he? And Bucky's got a whole mess of issues. I mean, he's got a list of people that have suffered because of him. He's still trying to make amends for all that stuff. Sam, like I said, it might not have the emotional connection there, but Sam seems a little more mentally fit in that department. And as much as we might like Bucky, he's become a very morally gray character. Captain America, you don't really want him to be morally gray. Yum Eat 'em Up, thank you for the $5. Thoughts on Wyatt Russell being harassed online by crazy Marvel stans and the outraged media being completely mum's the word on any of it? I haven't heard about that. Yeah, I haven't heard anything about that. I've been kind of keeping to myself for the last week or so. So I don't know. I don't know what happened there. Can somebody give me any information about that? I haven't heard this. What happened? Okay, what? Got another one. Jokage13. Honestly, I completely understand Walker. His best friend died right in front of him. I would be pissed off too. Tick too. No, I get it. I understand why he did it. The point is, even if you understand, that doesn't make it right. Because in the end, the dude still murdered someone in cold blood who was not fighting back. And he didn't have to do it. Now, I understand him being pissed off, but Captain America, a guy who's trying to be Captain America, can't really be the victim of his own impulses like that, because you never saw Steve do that. I mean, Steve killed people, but he killed people when he had to, like when he had no other choice. So John Walker had a choice there, and he chose to kill the guy. That's the difference. Scroats Magoats. I think that's a new one. Thank you for the $10, dude. There was a what-if issue where Frank Castle was picked for the Super Soldier program while he was starting out as the Punisher. Tony Stark knew who he was and convinced him to change his ways. Interesting. All right. Well, I guess that's what if is for. You know, I'm not a huge fan of the what if concept as a whole. It just feels like fan fiction, the series, to me. I never really saw the point in it. It's like, it's not in mainstream continuity. It's not part of the 616 universe, so what's the point? I'm not criticizing anyone who likes it. It's just not really for me. Okay, so Tony Stark knew about Frank Castle, convinced him to change his ways. Okay. Does it have any bearing on anything else in the Marvel Universe? Not really. Maybe it was a good story. Who knows? I haven't seen it, but I just I'm always struggling to care about what if. I just never really got it. But thank you for the super chat. John Walker doesn't compromise. He wants the power to deal with people he sees as evil and be equal to Captain America. No, he compromises. Like he even said being the new Captain America felt right to him. Like, they make it clear he wants to do the right thing, but murdering the Flag Smasher with the shield, that was not the right thing. That was an act of revenge. The right thing to do would have been to just arrest the guy. Because, the guy was not fighting back at that point. John chose to murder him. So, he's very morally flexible in that regard. Excuse me. What do you think of Netflix buying Sony, meaning the Spider-Man rights would revert back to Marvel? What? No, that's not the situation. As I understand it, I think Netflix made a deal with Sony that the Spider-Man movies would stream on Netflix exclusively. I didn't hear anything about Netflix buying Sony, and even if they did, the Spider-Man rights wouldn't revert to Marvel, I don't think. If Netflix bought Sony, I think then Netflix would have the Spider-Man rights. No, I don't... Unless there's something about that I haven't heard. Also, for fuck's sake, Captain America has to be a super soldier as we've seen the entire series. Well, I don't think he necessarily has to be. Like, Sam has been Captain America in the comics, and Sam isn't a super soldier. Plus, Sam's got his own skill set. He's gotten by just fine as Falcon. Now, I think being a super soldier would help with that, but him not being a super soldier is... makes it interesting in a different way there. Though I'm not sure how a non-super soldier is going to wield the shield effectively, because you kind of have to be super strong to use it as a weapon. But nevertheless, I still don't know how they're OP. Did they take a lesser version of Black Panther's purple drink? Yeah, I don't know either. It's weird. The Dormelage is... I could use more of an explanation. Like, are they... It's like with Black Widow, you know why she's so good, because she went through all the intensive training in the Red Room. With the Dormelage, it's like, I would like to know how the Dormelage are trained. Like, how are they as good as they are? We have no idea. They're just these unstoppable badasses who use spears. It's like, can you explain more? I don't know, but you know, I'd like to think it's not a political thing, but I'm kind of leaning in that direction. It's like it probably is to a certain extent. Hold on. Will Mangrum, thank you for the $5. No comment, but hey, thank you anyway. And these are like vibranium monks if they had Shaolin monks, excuse me, if they had vibranium battle armor. Yeah. Yeah, like I guess their armor would be vibranium. That's a good point. I didn't think of that. But still, I mean, you punch them in the face, they're still physically normal people. Like one shot might be enough. And these are big dudes that they're fighting. Like I said, I would really like to know how the Dormelage are trained, because I feel like people who are as skilled as they are at fighting need some kind of an explanation. See, John Walker is right. They have no jurisdiction. Well, they're in Latvia at the time. So does John even have any jurisdiction there? I mean, Sam and Bucky are kind of there. They're illegally, I guess. So I question whether John has any jurisdiction there. Sam and Bucky broke a guy out of prison to do what they're doing. And John is kind of letting them go, kind of going along with this for now, so I'm not sure he's in the right here either. The Dormelage are the best trained warriors of Wakanda, aka the most advanced country on Earth. It's not that big of a stretch. See, that would make sense if they were fighting with Wakandan technology. But they're not. They're fighting hand to hand. And, you know, for that explanation to work, you kind of expect their armor and their spears to be tricked out with all sorts of cool gadgets and stuff. But they're not. They seem to be just normal spears. Now, maybe they're made of vibranium or what, but it doesn't give them any, like, weird abilities or whatever. Not that I saw anyway. Yes, the most developed country that still uses combat trials to determine who rules. Yeah, it's kind of messed up. Like Wakanda is the most technologically advanced, but still kind of ass backwards in terms of determining who rules. It's still a monarchy, but you ascend to the throne through trial by combat or something. It's kind of messed up. Flag Smashers are a bunch of teens, and they can fight trained soldiers. Well, they're all super soldiers, lest we forget. That counts for a lot. Yeah, none of them had jurisdiction there. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. And so John comes off like a real douchebag for saying the Wakandans don't. Like, does he have jurisdiction there either? I don't think so. That's how I took it. John suffers from PTSD, and Lamar has his moral compass and anchor until he was killed. Yeah. It's too bad about Lamar. I thought there was more they could have done with him. But I guess if you really want to push John over the deep end, you know, you had to take Lamar away because he was the only guy John kind of listened to. John has jurisdiction from the UN. Does he? I thought John was working for the GRC. Now, are they associated with the UN? I'm not sure. See, most advanced country on Earth does not mean their warriors are somehow superhuman. Exactly. Thank you. Because the Dormelage do things that normal humans probably shouldn't be able to do. Like, you'd think they'd have to be superhuman on some level to do the things they do. Like, Okoye in the Black Panther movie. There was a moment at the end of that car chase sequence where she pulled off some move. It's like, there is no way a human being should be able to do this. I don't care how good you are. No one should be able to do this unless they have some kind of superpower, you know? Like you're a super soldier or cybernetically enhanced or what. But no one is that good. They're just not. So I don't care how technologically advanced your country is. It doesn't mean that you have superpowers when you're just a normal human. So the Dormelage always have that kind of asterisk next to them where it's like, you guys shouldn't be as good as you are. You just shouldn't be. The actor playing John Walker's crushing it, really selling the character. Oh yeah, the actor's very good. Yeah, there were a lot of people on social media comparing him to Homelander from The Boys, and I believe it. He's doing a good job. Because, you know, the character is an asshole, but we're not meant to like him, so he's doing well. Okay. Let's see. In fact, John Walker is the only one who's acting legally. Sam and Bucky are operating outside the law, and the Wakandans have zero jurisdiction. Even if that's true, it just makes him murdering the guy at the end all the more of an ugly act, I guess. Because the legal thing to do would have been to just arrest the guy. John chose to take revenge and kill him. So if he's operating in a legal faction, that just makes the whole thing uglier. At least if he was working outside the law, that was something you would expect. But if he's there as a representative of the UN or the GRC, then he kind of has rules that he has to abide by. But he's not. In the world of the MCU, Wakanda is light years ahead of any country. Last time I checked, neither John or Battlestar had the serum. Not in that fight, no. Yeah, but again, they may be ahead of any other country technologically, but this is a hand-to-hand fight where they're not using any technological gadgets to give them an edge. They're fighting with spears. So it all comes down to like fighting to fighting ability. And the Dormelage are still kicking their asses. So that's why I really want to know how the Dormelage are trained. Like, how did they get as good as they are? Like, they have access to all Wakanda's technology, but they don't use it. They're just fighting hand to hand. Now, maybe this is a case where the Dormilaje just don't make sense as a concept. Because if you have all the advanced tech of Wakanda, first of all, why the hell would you fight with melee weapons like spears in the first place? Wouldn't you have like guns? Like, at least Suri uses guns, or like energy gauntlets or whatever the hell those things are. But then you've got the Dormilaje, which I guess are like the Wakandan military or something, and they use spears. Like, what the? Does that just not work as a concept? Is that just inherently flawed as a concept? Because the more I think about the Dormilaje, the more I think they just don't make sense. Anyway, they're fighting John and Battlestar hand to hand, not using any kind of Wakandan tech. So it really should just come down to fighting ability, and yet they're still winning. It's like, okay, I'm willing to accept that if you give me an explanation. Wouldn't you love to see like the Dormilaje boot camp that these women go through? I'd be very interested to see that now. I really want to know how these women are trained, because I'm so curious about this all of a sudden. See, John Walker should not have killed the guy, but I can understand his rage, and the guy he killed is a terrorist. John Walker freaking snapped. I actually felt bad for him. No, I think that's what makes him a good character. Like, I don't like him. I think he's kind of a dick. I did kind of feel bad for him, but he should not have done what he did, even if it is kind of understandable. Because the guy definitely has some kind of PTSD. And I'd like to see some flashbacks of what he did in the military that got him those medals of honor. Because he called that the worst day of his life. And there's still issues from that experience that he hasn't dealt with that are informing the way he acts now. So there's a lot of characters still to be explored there. He's a good character. I don't like him, but I'm not meant to. Even though I can feel bad, even though I can feel sorry for him on occasion. Maybe not the true hero, but he's definitely the best character besides Zemo. Kind of like in the way that Homelander is not a hero, but he's the best character on The Boys. I can buy that. I can buy that. John is a hero of a different kind. Like the Punisher, he will kill. Yeah, but the Punisher is not representing any government agency. The Punisher is just off doing his own thing. John is one. Well, he's trying to be Captain America, and that comes with a legacy that you kind of have to live up. That you have to try to live up to. He's also representing the U.S. government, or some faction of it. I don't know if it's the UN or the GRC or what, but he's meant to be the new poster boy for America. So it's kind of that much more damning when he goes off the deep end. The Punisher, I mean, you expect him to go off the deep end. That's his character. That's what he does. But a guy trying to be Captain America is held to a higher standard, love it or hate it. So it means that much more when he can't live up to it. Oh, that's it. I'm sorry, they just added a whole bunch of new comments all at once. Holy moly, there's a lot of new comments here. Oi. Alright, I'm up to the top of the comments section, and it seems like some of them got cut off here. I'm sorry, I may have missed some here. Sam and Bucky did not immediately try to talk John down. Sam knew he just took the serum. Well, they were in the middle of a fight there. Also, they didn't really know John was going to just jump out a window. Do you watch Invincible? It's now on episode 5. Oh, I watch Invincible. And it's fantastic. Looking forward to reviewing that. We first meet Sam. He's in a support group, so if we're going to use the in the right headspace argument, you can give that to Sam as well. Well, he wasn't really in the support group. He was leading the support group. He was the counselor. So I'm not sure if that really applies. If Sam, I love that idea. If Sam and Bucky shared the mantle, that would be awesome. Yeah, I think that might be like the best way to please everybody. Just have them both be Captain America, because they can kind of compensate for each other. Because like Bucky has the physical tools because he's a super soldier, but Sam has kind of like the morals that Captain America needs, which Bucky doesn't really have. So you put them together, they kind of make one. They kind of make the right person, like the right guy between the two of them. The guy John killed was also a terrorist who helped in blowing up the shelter for people, not to mention they were going around the country stealing and killing people. No, he didn't blow up the building. Carly did that. And Carly's the one who killed Lamar. So... yeah. Sorry, I'm kind of jumping around here. John Walker crossed the line taking the serum. He's not with the law anymore. He might technically be. I think that could be where they're going. If they want to do more with the character, he might end up going off on his own, because clearly the guy is not. The guy is becoming more mentally unhinged as we go along. So he could just decide to be a free agent and tell the government to go fuck itself. When Tony shot Bucky's arm off, Bucky was injured and nearly dead for all Steve knew, and Steve still didn't kill Tony. Another reason why John did nothing wrong thing is bullcrap. Yeah, well... Yeah, I guess Steve is kind of the exception, because Steve was just such a morally good person. And I think there might be something to Zemo's argument of all the super soldiers inherently try to become supremacists, and Steve Rogers was the exception because he was just such a good guy. So maybe that's a thing with super soldiers, like the serum just kind of makes them mentally unbalanced, and maybe Steve was just an outlier. Because there's more examples of the super soldiers becoming, dangerous individuals than there are good ones. And there's Steve, and I guess... Well, Bucky only became bad because he was forced to and manipulated, so I guess you can count him as one of the good ones, I think. All the others, I mean, you got the Flag Smashers, you got Red Skull. So there's actually some support for Zemo's argument there. Okay. To be fair, John was going against a super soldier, and how do you contain a guy with super strength who can easily escape and kill everyone? Well, John is a super soldier too now. Bucky took a super soldier down by kicking him through a brick wall. That was enough to take that guy out of the fight. And he didn't have to kill him to do it. John could have subdued this guy and called for help. Or he could have just knocked him unconscious. He's strong enough to do it now. I think, it wouldn't have been that difficult for him to stop this guy without killing him. But he chose to kill him. That's the point. Speaking of Black Widow, will you review that when it's out? Yeah, sure. Not sure when it's coming out. It's been delayed a couple times now. Even Black Widow isn't really that good. She's been shown to almost get killed a couple times. Yeah. Yeah, that's an excellent point. So the Dormelage are unrealistically good. Like, if you want them to be that good, then they should be, like, enhanced with Wakandan tech or something, but they don't seem to be. That's the problem. It's like they're normal women fighting with spears. So why are they as good as they are? Let's see, the show is crap. Something like 80% of the viewers turned out in the last episode at the cop harassing the black man scene. The show is plummeting in the ratings. You're ignoring that. I'm not ignoring that. I just haven't addressed the ratings because I don't really care about them. Also, you're talking about one scene. And, like, I haven't denied anything about those first two episodes having some issues. I addressed all that stuff. What I'm saying is episodes 3 and 4 have been good. I'm not saying 1 and 2 didn't have problems. I talked about those. Even I thought the scene with the cop, the scene from episode 2 with the cops, I thought that was super awkward. It didn't work. I didn't care for it. And I understand that people tuned out. What I'm saying is, episodes 3 and 4 have been a lot better. They've ditched a lot of the awkward stuff. So maybe it was a case of them just working the kinks out, or just deciding that the woke shit didn't really work, and getting rid of it and trying to be more adult about things. Do you think they might explain the Dora Milaje backstories could be looked at in either Black Panther 2 or the Wakanda series? Yeah, well, there's a Wakanda series in the works, isn't there? I would expect them to explore that more in the Wakanda show. Black Panther 2, probably not so much. They're going to have a lot of other stuff to address. But yeah, I could see it in the Wakanda show. I would expect them to do it in the Wakanda series. It'll probably be the best place for it. Okay. And another super chat. Band, thank you for the $10. I sort of spammed your chat. I hope this is appropriate compensation for needing sort through that LOL of your channel. Thank you. Thank you. Did you spam the chat? I didn't notice. But yeah, okay. Thanks for the super chat. Walker is a bad name to have in Marvel TV shows. Trish Walker, Mary Walker, and now John Walker all wanted to be heroes and ended up villains. Yeah, I didn't notice that, but yeah. Things didn't turn out well for Trish either, did they? Oh, boy. Boy, and Trish went kind of crazy after getting superpowers, too. Holy crap. Are they just recycling characters and plots? Oh my god. You can't have a black woman getting beaten in the show. Yeah, I understand that. I'm not suggesting she get beaten. I would just like the fight to be a little more realistic. And the Dora Milaje as a concept just feel unrealistic to me. It's because they haven't been explained yet. If you explain them, that could solve a lot of these problems. So yes, I would very much like to see them get explained in the Wakanda show. So the Dora Milaje and everything coming out in Black Panther has to be awesome and kick-ass. That's the explanation. Vibranium can do everything. Yeah, that was one of the weaknesses of the Black Panther movie. It's like Vibranium it's kind of a Deus Ex Machina, really. It just does whatever the story needs it to do. It's this very ill-defined substance that is the source of all this amazing technology. Like, what exactly is vibranium? What are the properties? What can it do? Don't really know. They've never really explained it that well. They just want it to be this magic thing that can do anything. Well, only 2 episodes left. This thing's going by fast. WandaVision was based on House of M. This is debatable. Falcon Winter Soldier is not comic-based. No, it is, kind of. The Power Broker story is from the comics. WandaVision based on House of M? I don't think so. I mean, there's certain elements in there I guess they took from House of M, but not really. I mean, that felt more original than Falcon Winter Soldier is. The super soldier serum doesn't give superpowers, it only enhances your own strength, speed, etc. Imagine if every day you worked out, put in a single capsule of drugs. No, it gives you super strength. I mean, it enhances your strength to unnatural levels. I mean, you saw First Avenger. Like, Steve was a scrawny little twerp. Then he got the super soldier serum, and suddenly he was like a foot taller and made of muscle. And you see the super soldiers doing stuff that normal humans just would not be able to do. Like when during the chase sequence when Bucky was chasing Carly, she was jumping up 10 feet to like the stairs and stuff, and just dropping like 20 feet, sticking the landing. John Walker jumped out a window, dropped like 3 or 4 stories, and just stuck the landing, didn't even feel it. No, even normal humans at the peak of physical condition would not be able to do what the super soldiers can do. No, so I don't agree with that. Go back and watch how the spear didn't break when she stabbed the shield, so I don't think the spears are vibranium too. No, I expect the spears are vibranium, yeah. Which explains how the spears like don't break and are really strong, but it still doesn't account for the Dormalage's fighting ability, which is, I think, is the thing I'm kind of struggling with. Skipped Black Panther and Ant-Man. I thought they looked boring. Okay, well, I like both movies. I think Black Panther was slightly overrated. There are some things in the movie I kind of wonder about. I thought Ant-Man was fun. Okay. I wouldn't say he's like Homelander, because in my opinion he's still at this point redeemable. Yeah, maybe. I don't think that's the direction they're going with John Walker, though. He seems to be heading more in a Homelander type direction. Now he still seems to think he's doing the right thing now, but he's becoming more and more unhinged, so we'll see how that goes. James Bond does things a normal person can't do, and no one questions that. Does he really? I mean, James Bond usually has a lot of gadgets from Q Division to help him out. And Bond is a great fighter, but you don't really see him doing anything superhuman. Even with the Daniel Craig version, no, he's just a really athletic guy who's a great fighter. I don't see Bond doing anything that should be like outside the range of human ability, you know? Unrealistic, yeah, but maybe if there's like one in 1,000, like one guy in 1,000 who's just that physically gifted, you can kind of buy it. Plus he has all the gadgets. The Dormalage aren't really using gadgets, they're just, a group of women who are all just incredibly good fighters to the point where it becomes kind of unrealistic. Alright, that's where we are. I kind of look like John Walker. Do I? It's the first I've heard that. I wonder how they're going to get around Black Panther with Chadwick sadly passing away. Well, I imagine they're going to have Shuri take over. as the new Panther. I think that happened in the comics anyway. At least for a while. And that makes the most sense to me, really. I mean, and Shuri was one of the breakout characters of the first movie anyway. I think that's the easiest way to get around this. Plus, that's T'Challa's sister. I guess the line of succession would pass to her, so... You know, it's a sad situation, but I think it makes the most sense for Shuri to kind of take up the mantle now. The Dora Milaje are getting a limited series, so we'll find out about the backstory there. Oh, so is the Wakanda series going to be about them? All right, that's cool. Well, maybe they'll address the whole training issue. Mahler brought up that point with the spears. Oh, good. So it's not just me. Okay. 6 episodes isn't enough to explore John Walker's past. Well, we don't know that. I mean, I think a couple of flashbacks might be enough. Plus, I mean, we don't know if we're going to see him again after this. They may keep the character around and have him show up later in other things. And I'd be interested to see that. I think there's more you can do with this guy. I mean, we're kind of just seeing the tip of the iceberg with John Walker so far. Do you think Bucky and Io slept together? They got some tension. I don't know. I didn't really get that impression. I guess there's room for something like that if you want to do it. I kind of felt like he was just... he felt grateful and indebted to her for helping him get rid of the Hydra programming. Didn't really get the sense that there was something romantic there. I could be... That could be just me, though. And... Shannon Jones, thank you for the $2. Hi, what's up? No, nothing much. Nothing much. I was feeling a little down earlier in the week. Kind of took a few days to myself. Not sure why. And just feeling a little frustrated about a lot of things. Took some time, kind of sorted out all my mail. Paid a couple bills. Oh, but it's going to be busy in the next couple of days. We got Batwoman coming back. And I think the Nevers starts tomorrow as well, so I'd like to do something about that. I'd like to do a video on that, but I think Batwoman is on at 8, and then the Nevers at 9. So, is it... I don't know if it's on HBO or HBO Max. It's one of those. But it starts tomorrow. So I don't know how I'm going to do videos on both of those. I'm going to try. Do you have any predictions on what will happen in Episode 5? Not really. I'm hoping for some flashbacks to John Walker's backstory. Beyond that, I don't really know. Let's see. Vibranium seems like a plot convenience. It's like the Desert Rose and Batwoman. Speaking of Batwoman, are you hyped for the new episode? Hyped? Not really. Oh, God. I had 2 weeks without Batwoman. It was so nice. I felt like it went by so fast. Is it weird that in Black Panther they call Claws men with guns who are shooting at them primitive, yet the only weapons they have are spears and beads while guns are more effective and useful. Well, the beads, at least the beads do stuff. Like, the spears are just melee weapons. So yeah, it is weird. I guess the spears being made of vibranium accounts for something, but again, I guess it just makes them really strong. It doesn't help them do anything that spears shouldn't be able to do. So yes, it is weird. So right, Wakandans hide their technology. Remember the movie Black Panther? In the movie, that was part of the plot. They were worried about sharing their tech with other nations. Mm-hmm. An unpopular opinion, Ant-Man 1 and 2 are better than the Raimi Spider-Man trilogy. You know, I personally enjoy the Ant-Man movies more than the Raimi Spider-Man trilogy. So I kind of agree with you on that. Of course, I've always been in the minority. I don't like the Raimi Spider-Man movies. I just don't. I've explained my reasons many times. Maybe someday I'll make a video about that. But yeah, I just don't like them. I'm not saying Ant-Man 1 and 2 are masterpieces, but on a pure enjoyment level, I like them quite a bit more. How do you feel about Bucky's new arm design in comparison to the ones he had previously? It's not something I put a lot of thought into, but I think I like it fine. Black Panther's kind of overrated. I like how Mahler approached it from an objective standpoint. Yeah, I mean, it's a good movie. There are things about it that I kind of tilt my head at with Black Panther. And I don't think there's any defense that works for those battle rhinos. Oy. Yeah, the CG on those was just not really up to snuff. Excuse me. The difference between Homelander and Walker is that Homelander doesn't care about others. Walker does care, but is going down the ends justify the means road. Homelander's just a pure sociopath. Yeah, but we've spent a lot more time with Homelander. Walker's only been around a couple episodes. I mean, give him time. See, they were unrealistic fighters even in the Black Panther movie, so why is this surprising? No, it's not surprising, but I still have the same issues with them. I just want to know why they're so good. And like I said, this could be explained quite easily if you show us how the Dormelage are trained. So if there are reasons for why they're so good, then great, let's see those reasons. We haven't seen them yet, that's why I complain about it. The Dora explorers are so arrogant, as if sovereignty and laws don't apply to them. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah, I noticed that even in Civil War. Like when Io confronted Black Widow, and she's like, "Move or you will be moved." It's like, say what now? Okay, Black Widow is the established badass here. I don't know who the hell you are. So where do you get off acting all big and bad like that? Yeah, you mean you're not wrong. They do come off as arrogant. So I would very much like to see the reasons why they feel that way. Why do they feel so superior? Why do they how are they trained to become the biggest badasses in the room? Because something with the Dormelage just does not click until we get that information. So you're not wrong. You're absolutely right. They do come off as arrogant, and I'm not sure how they get around that thing with how they get around the issues of sovereignty. I don't know. Maybe they were doing this off the books. Who knows? Whole bunch of new comments just came in. I only picked up a friendship and she helped him get his mind back in order angle between Bucky and Io. Also, she's a lesbian in the comics, so it's unlikely. Oh, yeah, I mean, they're not going to take a lesbian and make her straight. Yeah. The Nevers is on HBO. Huh. I thought it was on HBO Max. Weird. Okay. Alright. Yeah. It's really unfortunate how that all worked out. Like, Batwoman's on at 8. The Nevers is on at 9. So I'm not going to be able to watch both when they air, because it usually takes me about 2 hours to get through the Batwoman episode, because I'm constantly stopping, rewinding, so I can take notes and stuff. So maybe I'll watch the Nevers on... Maybe the Nevers will go up on HBO Max, like, after it airs or something, or maybe they'll rerun it the next day. I don't know. Because I do want to check that show out. I do want to, like, do some videos on that. But Batwoman kind of has to take precedence, unfortunately. Although I hear... I think there's only 4 episodes left in the season. So we're kind of in the home stretch now with that. Thank God. Do you think Old Man Steve saw or will see what Walker has done? Yeah, possibly. The way they've been talking about Steve makes me think Steve has passed away since Endgame. I mean, they haven't mentioned it yet, but they're kind of implying that he's not with us anymore. Maybe they'll keep that kind of ambiguous, but I'm not really expecting Steve to show up again. Awesome. The Nevers, I can't wait for that show. I'm a big fan of Joss Whedon's work, despite what's recently been reported about him. Yeah, me too. Unfortunately, Whedon's kind of become somebody where you have to separate the art from the artist. But I can still enjoy his work. Because he has made a lot of some really awesome shows. I don't blame him for the way Justice League turned out. Apparently his behavior on set is something you may have to call attention to. I still don't really know what went on there, but I don't blame him for the way the movie came out. I blame the studio. And I've been looking forward to that show for a while too. So yeah, I'm excited about the Nevers. I'm just not sure when I'm going to get a chance to watch it. Unpopular opinion, Joss Whedon's Justice League is better than Batman v Superman. Not sure about that. Although, I don't know if you've seen Mahler's review of Justice League, the Snyder Cut, but he makes a really good argument for the Whedon cut being better than the Snyder Cut. It's actually very difficult to disagree with any of the points he makes. If you hadn't seen that review, you really should. That's some brilliant stuff. Okay. Another person who didn't enjoy the Raimi trilogy, I bow to your greatness. Oh, thank you. We gotta stick together. There aren't many of us. Okay. Shannon Jones with another $5. Thank you so much. I'm almost tempted to watch The Cringe, which is Batwoman, and experience it for myself. Almost. Just almost. I would strongly recommend you not do that. Don't do that to yourself. There's no reason. I always feel a little bit guilty when I hear comments like people are tempted to watch Batwoman because of my reviews just to see what all the fuss is about. No, don't do that, guys. Don't, please. You don't know what you're doing to yourself. There's no reason to watch the show. You can watch my reviews. You don't have to watch the show. You really don't. Nothing good can come from it. Do you think Bucky and Falcon will go back to using guns? It seems like if they had guns, they would easily beat the Flag Smashers, oddly enough. Possibly, but I don't feel... If they use guns, then things get a lot more lethal, and I think that's kind of the point of them is that they're trying to do things in a non-lethal way. Like, I don't think Bucky wants to kill anyone. He's trying to get away from that. And the whole point of Sam is that he's like, Sam and John Walker are kind of counterbalanced here. Because Walker seems to be fine with killing these guys. Or at least he's heading in that direction. And Sam is kind of in the opposite direction, where he wants to find a more humane way of doing this. So I would expect them not to use guns. Who knows? It could be wrong, though. Okay. How do you feel about early seasons of Arrow and Flash? Arrow was really good for the first 2 seasons. The Flash... I've talked about this before. I think The Flash had... There was a brief period where The Flash had a chance to become a good show early on. It didn't take that chance. No, it just went in the other direction. It became a really bad show pretty quickly, I think. I'm of the opinion that The Flash was never a good show. And a lot of people disagreed with me about that for a long time. Now, they're coming around to my point of view now. But yeah, I don't think it was ever a good show. The writing has been pretty terrible most of the time. And again, there was a brief period early on when it had a chance to become something better. It didn't. No, it's always been bad. Roy Fisher made all these claims because he refused to say the catchphrase that happens to be very popular with Cyborg. Yeah, he didn't want to say "booyah." Why not? It's a catchphrase associated with the character. Look, that whole situation is so weird. Like, I'm not saying that any of the shit on Justice League didn't happen. And clearly there's a pattern of behavior being established with Joss Whedon where the guy has definitely got some issues he needs to deal with. And I haven't heard about anything happening with him since then, so maybe he's gotten some help or some counseling or something. Maybe he's straightened himself out since then. I don't know. I do think that Roy Fisher has not really handled this has not handled this situation great either. Like, I don't want to sound like I'm attacking the guy, because again, I don't know what really happened there, but it seems to me that Roy Fisher has been dead set on making sure he never works in Hollywood again with the way he's handled this. Publicly throwing people under the bus, including, like, the people heading up the DCEU, including Walter Hamada, the head of the studio. Like, does he never want to work as an actor again? Because that's what's going to happen with the way he's been doing this. Calling out Walter Hamada publicly on social media and insulting everybody, insulting the studio and stuff. Like, no studio is going to want to touch this guy after this. It kind of seems like he's... How do I say this? There are ways of going about this that don't make a big stink of it. Like, you could handle it internally, and maybe he doesn't care about that. Maybe he just wants to call out all this stuff. But yeah, you're not. I predict that you're not going to see much of Roy Fisher as an actor after this situation, and that is nobody's fault but Roy Fisher. Now, he did that to himself. Now, if there was some kind of abusive behavior going on the Justice League set, all right. But you can handle those things internally. But he made the whole thing public. Now, if he doesn't care about getting work as an actor after this, okay, have at it. But, you know, people blaming anyone but Roy Fisher for his career getting fucked up are not really thinking clearly. Now, that is nobody's fault but Roy Fisher. Where am I? You know what was excellent? The Green Lantern animated show on HBO Max. Yeah, I saw that. That was a great show. It's too bad it didn't go for longer. I can accept that you didn't like the Raimi trilogy, but I cannot accept someone liking the Amazing Spider-Man movies with Garfield. I don't know why the Amazing Spider-Man gets so much shit. Now, I agree the sequel was not good. I liked the first one. Not saying it was perfect or anything, but I liked it more than the Raimi movies. Okay. I think The Flash was okay in Season 1. Every season after that was either the same but worse or cartoonish and cringy. Alright. I don't agree that it was okay in Season 1. I think the writing has always been pretty terrible, but... no judgment. I think Angel is better than Buffy. Towards the end, I was more a fan of Angel than Buffy. I kind of checked out of Buffy the last 2 seasons. It just wasn't really doing it for me anymore. I think a star from Firefly defended Whedon. Yeah, I think that was Alan Tudyk. I think when a lot of these accusations about Joss Whedon started coming out, I think Alan Tudyk said something like, I've known Joss for years, and this seems unimaginable to me, or something like that. So, I don't know what it is about Whedon. Maybe it's has certain projects or certain situations that just tend to encourage his worse impulses or worse behavior or something. I think the upshot is that Whedon is a really complicated guy. Because I've never heard of... No, wait. How do I say this? Because, I mean, there are a lot of people that come back to work for him over and over. Like, plenty of the Whedonverse writers come back to work for him. You know, a lot of actors like to come back and work with him. And yet, other people have a lot of bad things to say about him. So, it seems like a really... It seems kind of unclear what the truth really is sometimes. And again, I'm not defending the man. I think enough has come out to make it clear that he's definitely got problems. I just hope he's dealing with them. In the meantime, I can still enjoy his work, even if even if the man himself might be not the greatest person in the world. Where the hell was I? Ray Fisher will claim he's not being hired because of structural racism. They will hire him again. Will they? I don't know. Because if I'm the head of a movie studio, I'm looking at Ray Fisher throwing Walter Hamada under the bus over and over publicly, and I'm saying, yeah, I'm not going near this guy. This guy is a flight risk. And is that really a big loss to anybody? I mean, it's not like Ray Fisher's a big star. I don't know. I'd never even heard of Ray Fisher prior to Justice League. Apparently, I think he did a stint on True Detective or something, and that was like the biggest thing he'd done until Justice League. And he hasn't really done anything since Justice League either. So it's the dude isn't a star. He had a couple parts in a couple things. And then he played Cyborg, and that turned into what it was, and now he hasn't done a damn thing. Hasn't really done a damn thing since then. I think he had one part and like one other thing, but yeah, his career's going nowhere, and that is Ray Fisher's fault. The guy torpedoed his own career. Now he may claim it's because of other reasons. Yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't. He did that to himself. And do you watch wrestling? And if so, how do you feel about the current state of wrestling? Yeah, I do. How do I feel about the current state of wrestling? Well, I'm doing a live stream instead of getting ready to watch WrestleMania. Yeah, the WWE product is pretty much the laziest it's ever been right now. AEW has a couple issues of their own, but overall it's a much, much, much better product. Okay. I also love The Amazing Spider-Man 1. It's my second favorite non-MCU Marvel movie after Logan. Alright, cool. Okay. Yeah, didn't Whedon write a great X-Men comic run? Yeah, he did. His Astonishing X-Men was the follow-up to the Grant Morrison run. He had an outstanding run on Astonishing X-Men. I would absolutely recommend you pick up the trades on that one. Man, X-Men had such a great couple of runs back then. It went from Grant Morrison to Joss Whedon to Warren Ellis. Oh, boy. How far we've fallen since then. I think Iris is probably the worst part of the Flash consistently. Why does Barry have better chemistry with Oliver and Kara? There's no probably about it. Iris is the worst part. Or one of the worst, anyway. And that was always one of my big criticisms. Barry literally has better chemistry with everyone else than he has with his love interest. And the writers could have course corrected, but they never did. They just kept with Iris, even though these complaints about the character have always been there. And the funny thing about that is, the Flash TV series back in the 90s, it had a similar thing. Like they said, they originally had Barry with Iris, but they also had the Tina character. And then they noticed in the first episode, oh wait, Barry has better chemistry with Tina. Okay, so let's switch gears and focus more on Barry and Tina. And then Iris just disappeared. But now they just stuck with this Barry Iris thing for season after season after season, and there's just nothing there. There is not 1 ounce of chemistry between them. There never was. Why couldn't they just change course, go in a different direction? It's not like they haven't deviated from the comics in the past. Never made sense. Richard Davis, thank you for the $5. And the clapping emoji. Thank you very much. Okay, where am I? Do you think Chadwick Boseman wins the Oscar this year? I don't know. I didn't see. I think it's a Netflix movie he was in. That was the last thing he did before he passed away. I haven't seen it. I heard he was great in it. So I imagine he might get nominated. Without seeing it, I can't really comment though. What would you say are your favorite Spider-Man comic runs? I don't know, probably back in the... Yeah, I'm not really sure I could nail down a specific run, just because my favorite runs are back before I paid attention to who was writing the damn things. Whatever my favorite ones were, they were probably drawn by Mark Bagley. Yeah. Greatest Spider-Man artist of all time, Mark Bagley, in my opinion. All right. In the Flash's defense, since Eric Wallace took over as the showrunner, Iris has become slightly more bearable and has had better writing. All right. Still don't think that character is salvageable, but okay. I guess her becoming slightly more bearable is about the best we could hope for. The Ultimate series was pretty good. No, Ultimate Spider-Man was great. It started out great. It got kind of weird later on. And I never agreed with them killing Peter off to introduce Miles. I thought that was dumb. If you want to do Miles Morales, go ahead. You don't have to kill Peter to do it. Then, of course, they brought Peter back to life later on, because I guess they realized that themselves. But no, there was a big stretch where Ultimate Spider-Man was a great, great series. This is before Bendis turned to crap. No, Bendis used to be a really great writer. Not so much anymore. He's pretty garbage these days. Ray Fisher is an opportunist using woke politics for personal gain. You know, he does kind of give that impression a lot of the time, I have to say. Although the personal gain part doesn't really track, since he's done nothing but just completely screw himself over. Now, maybe he doesn't realize what he's doing, that he's been doing that, but that's been the result. Hey, John Romita was the best. Okay, yeah, John Romita is one of the great ones. In my opinion, Mark Bagley has been the best Spider-Man artist. He's my personal favorite. I'm not. You know, John Romita is definitely in the conversation, though. All right. I will never forgive Bendis for that garbage. Yeah, I'll never forgive Bendis for a lot of things. You know, there was the business with Iceman. The way he wrote Emma Frost. Well, he really didn't understand Emma Frost. You know, a lot of the stuff he did with the X-Men. Ugh, God. Bendis is so full of himself now. Oh yeah, he's gotten super arrogant. You know, I don't read DC comics really, so I haven't heard a lot about what he's done. But apparently, I heard that he ruined Superboy, he ruined Tim Drake, and Bendis got so full of himself to a point where he doesn't really care about established continuity anymore. He just wants to like take established characters and kind of warp them into what he thinks they should be, not taking their history and their backstory into account. And it's like, well, how arrogant does this guy have to be to do something like that? Really? And I guess he had Superman reveal his secret identity to the public. It's like, yeah, that's gonna stick. Please. Yeah, I don't know what happened to Bendis. He was great for a while. Man, I don't know. He's got really arrogant and full of himself, and man, what a shame. I'm just glad he's not working for Marvel anymore. They've got enough problems of their own right now. Are you still watching Superman and Lois? Yeah. I think there may have been. I think I may be an episode behind now. Again, I was mostly watching it to review it. If a week goes by where I'm not reviewing it, then I don't really feel a burning urge to watch it immediately. I'll probably get caught up though. It's a shame that it has to go on a break. I know that's pandemic related, but you know, can't be helped. I am interested to see if the ratings hold up when it comes back, because it's being replaced by Supergirl, which about which the less said the better. Did you see the Zemo cut? Yeah, I think it's like a 20-second cut repeated for an hour of just Zemo dancing. It's pretty funny. Would you recommend Falcon Winter Soldier overall? Because I have been hearing mixed things. Get back to me after the whole series has finished up. Because I think there's still room for me to go in one direction or the other. Because first 2 episodes definitely have problems. 3 and 4 are good, I think. But there's still time for them to fumble the ball here. Okay. I think we can probably wrap it up here, or think about wrapping it up here. They should have did what they did with Lois in the Superman animated series and not try to make Iris the leader of Team Flash, have her use her journalism skills to be beneficial to the team. Yeah, is Iris even still a journalist? I haven't heard her... I don't know, it's like... I stopped paying attention once I heard they were making her the leader of Team Flash. Why? What qualifications does she have? She's a reporter. And now she's leading a superhero team? Okay, the ridiculousness is off the scales. I know the writers are just desperate to shove this character down our throats, but there comes a point where people just don't buy this shit anymore. Yeah, she hasn't really done any journalism stuff in a while. Okay. Because Barry has to have time to cry every week. Oy. They're still doing that? Come on, Barry. Any theories about Spider-Man No Way Home? Do you think all the rumors of Maguire and Garfield showing up are true? Probably. I mean, I think they confirmed that Jamie Foxx is showing up. If you're bringing back Jamie Foxx's Electro, I mean, it just stands to reason that Andrew Garfield is going to be in there too. Now, I haven't heard anything about Tobey Maguire. Maybe they're trying to work out a deal with him. Who knows if that'll happen, but I would expect him. I would expect it at this point. How do you feel about Henry Cavill losing the role of Superman? WB have no plans for him in the future. Replace him with a black Superman, and Henry Cavill is reportedly in talks with Marvel. I think it's a shame. You know, people really like Henry Cavill as Superman. I think if the Man of Steel and Batman v Superman didn't make as much money as the studio wanted, it wasn't really Cavill's fault. And plus, after The Witcher really blew up, you know, his name is back out there. People like him as Superman, and with the right script and the right movie, he could deliver the kind of Superman that people want. It feels like he just got kneecapped by circumstances that were out of his control, and that's not his fault. So I like Cavill as Superman. I'd like to see him get another movie. Yeah, but now they want to reboot it. They want to do like the Elseworld Superman. I think Calvin Ellis is the name. Have Ta-Nehisi Coates is writing it. Ta-Nehisi Coates, who is a super political guy who hates white people, and that's the guy you want writing a Superman type of character. Oy. Yeah, don't see that working out. The worst aspect of The Flash is time travel. Oh yeah, the time travel shit never made sense. Like the rules of time travel are constantly changing. They're never consistent. The rules are whatever the plot needs them to be. That's what it's always been like. They've never been able to stick to like one established aspect of how time travel works. It's always changing. Always changing. It was so frustrating. Alfred Molina as Doc Ock was also reported to show up by the Hollywood Reporter. Didn't some of these characters die? Like Doc Ock was pretty dead at the end of Spider-Man 2. I think Jamie Foxx's Electro died too. I don't really remember. So how are they going to do this? Is there going to be time travel involved also? What about Venom meeting Spider-Man in the future? Anything? Ugh, please no. Not the Tom Hardy version. God, no, please. Iris is still a reporter. When it matters to the plot. Yes. Henry Cavill's a good fit for Superman. It's just that Snyder can't write Superman properly. Animated Superman in the DCAU is the real Superman that we've been looking for. Yeah, I like Man of Steel despite the problems with it. But yeah, Snyder really does not understand these characters. He never really did. They'll probably bring back Doc Ock through a multiverse explanation before he dies, or it's a different version of Doc Ock but still played by Molina. Yeah, okay. So maybe it's not the same reality as the Raimi movies, but it's still the same people. I guess all the same actors playing those roles, but it's just a different reality to the Raimi movies. Yeah, okay. I could buy that, I guess. Why not Tom Hardy? Because Venom sucked. The movie was terrible. Watch my review of it. Henry Cavill should be cast as Mr. Sinister. Well, I guess he kind of looks the part, but personality-wise, I don't see it. How far did you get in The Flash and Arrow? I guess we'll end with this. Well, Flash I watched for the first 3 seasons, but only because I was reviewing it on my other channel at the time. After that, I just decided I'd had enough. I couldn't take it anymore. I had to stop. Arrow, I forget how far I got into it. 5 seasons, maybe? The season that ended with Lian Yu getting blown up. That's the last season I watched all the way through. I've seen assorted episodes since then, but that was the last season I was watching week to week. So I think that's probably a good place to stop. Yeah. Wait, is there anything else in here? Never forget your rant about the Ronald McDonald wig for Cletus Cassidy in your review. Yeah. Yeah, I can't believe. Yeah, I can't believe they thought that looked good. My God. Saw Cletus Cassidy. I wanted to laugh. What the fuck were they thinking? All right. Yeah. Okay. I could probably stop it there. Thanks for everybody for tuning in. I know I was a little bit unorganized with some of my notes here. I'm sorry about that. I just got off to a late start today. My body clock is all kinds of fucked up. Again, it's a matter of staying up late to work on videos and my just kind of being a night person anyway. So you would combine that with staying up late until all hours of the day or night, and sleeping just when I get tired now instead of sleeping at night and working during the day. It's a mess. I really wish I could get back on a normal schedule. I'm always trying to. Never seems to happen. So I'm going to keep working on that. In the meantime, thank you guys all for tuning in. Thank you to all our super chatters. Life of Nate, thank you. Yum Yum Eat 'em Up, thank you. Jokaje13, thank you. Scroats Magoats, thank you for the $10. Will Mangrum, hope I got that right, thank you. Band with $10, thank you. Shannon Jones with 2 super chats, thank you so much. And Richard Davis, thank you for the $5 and the slow clap emoji, high five emoji, whatever that is. Thank you for it. So, thanks everybody for spending some time with me. I will try to be a little bit more organized next time. So that will be again on next Saturday, where we talk about episode 5. And in the meantime, I'm going to watch Batwoman. The review for that should come out on Wednesday as usual. I'm also going to try to do the Nevers. I'm not sure when I'm going to have a chance to watch it. It probably won't be on Sunday, because just taking notes on Batwoman just takes too long. I'm crossing my fingers that they'll rerun it during the week. I think they usually do with shows like that. But yeah, we'll see. If not, I'll find it somewhere. So I'm hoping to get a review of the Nevers episode 1 out during the week as well. We'll see. Don't hold me to that just yet. I'll have to find it and watch it somewhere. Yeah, but yeah, so we'll have Batwoman on Wednesday. Hopefully the Nevers sometime after that, and then the next live stream for episode 5 on Saturday. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks to all our super chatters. I will talk to you guys later. And take care. See you later.